Alright, family, I got some fuckery afoot. I'm trying to send out my text message. I had it all set. It didn't go out. So we're going to have a musical interlude. Can you guess what song we're going to play? Yes, that's right. Black Airbenders. Yep. Rashawn. Here we go. Give me a couple more minutes. Don't make me sit it out on my phone now, computer. Some bullshit. Something like that, bro. But listen, it don't look like I'm gonna be able to send out my text message. I want to apologize to all of my Spreaker fam because y'all are a major core of what I do. I genuinely appreciate y'all. And I want y'all to know that. But first off, let me welcome you to the place where your hustle builds muscle, where the stubborn minority matters. Within the congregation of the mighty, you know that it's only a minority of individuals that are part of that congregation of the mighty. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Come on, anime. Come on. This is a Heart of December production. And of course, we are on Tribal Quotes tonight. And we're going to strive to blow up your old paradigms. I want to apologize to everybody out there because the text messages, I don't know what's going on with that. I have to probably turn off my computer. And I'm not going to turn off my computer in the middle of a show. We ain't there yet. I'm waiting for another computer to come in. I just got some good news today. And on the pinnacle, this is the pinnacle of my fast, right? I'm on a dry. This is the second day of my dry. Tomorrow's my last day of no water, no food, and bow, right? But right now, I'm at the apex of the 21 days. I'm at the top because, you know, we do it like a pyramid, so I'm able to look out there. So I'm driving in my car, and I get a call from a brother in California. I won't say his name yet. You know what I'm saying? But I've been reading some of his books. And I got a call from him. He said, dude, let me help you line up what you're doing. You got all the right dreams. You got all the right mechanisms. But let me give you a focus. Let me help you focus and hone in and build up this whole idea of Gye-Nyame Journey. I was like, yeah, let's do it, right? So I'll be talking about that a little bit more as we move forward. I'm going to have to raise some dough, but that's all good. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you want good advice. You want to take people's time. You got to be willing to do, like I talked about this morning. We are on what? Ujamaa. What is the demonic principle that lines up with Ujamaa? Reciprocity. What is reciprocity? Reciprocity is the flow of the universe, giving and taking. So if I'm going to get somebody's time that's going to be able to help me take this platform to another level, I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to pay for the extra services that I get with these phones. I'm to pay for all that data. I'm willing to pay for the Restreamio. I'm willing to pay for the text message, the Text Boom app. You know what I'm saying? I've been getting in touch with y'all. I'm willing to pay for Facebook ads. I'm pulling money out my pocket. I'm raising money with Gye-Nyame Journey. I'm willing to put my own money into Kwanzaa. I'm willing to put my own money into Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm going to put it into developing the Gye-Nyame business, because I need to be able to actually have employees, not even employees, partners working with Gye-Nyame that are making a decent living, so that a lot of stuff that I'm doing, when I'm having these issues, I can look and be like, what the fuck going on? You know what I'm saying? You're doing $50,000 a year. You better get this shit running. But I love you. Right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, if we want to build, we gotta do that. So boom. He gonna offer me some assistance. Expose me to a larger audience. Help guide me through how to develop what it is that I need to develop, because I got crazy content. You know what I'm saying? Y'all realize I've been blogging. I've been blogging for damn near 13 years. I couldn't even tell you how many blogs I got. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't tell you how many podcasts I got, how many videos I got. I've been doing this, right? And brother's gonna come on and help. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Thank you. I had to start over. I wanted to start over on Frederick Douglass dude, so I had to start over. It's time. Since I came into the fast, I said, let me go on, make this sacrifice, cut off my little beard. Just keep it at a shadow for a little while. Keep my hair low and tight and allow it to be shaped up as it grows. You know what I'm saying? I know exactly how I like it. So, family, I want to thank everybody for stepping in. So now, let's cover some news real quick. Then we're going to get right into the Proverbs. You already know what I mean, what I say when I say that. But you know what would really be good right now? A glass of water. God damn. I got one more day. And I'll be drinking water on Kuumba when we do our toast. I'm going to be drinking up the water. Like I said, when you do these type of things, it gets you to feel gratitude for those small things, right? Water, you know what I'm saying? For most of us in America, water is like it's something we side-eye sometimes. Water. Shit, water's a necessity. My body's like, oh yeah, we want some water. But I do this to prove not only to myself, but to people around me, because they say you only can survive 3 days without water. Y'all don't see me dying. I mean, y'all see me confused and shit, but y'all don't see me dying, right? So we'll start back up on the water on Kuumba and Imani, and then after that we'll be able to move back to the juices. And I'm gonna have me a nice, I'm gonna blend me up a nice little juice smoothie type. Woof, Lord have mercy. If my kids ain't eat up all the fruit, you know how that shit go, right? So we also popped up on our garden. I got a call from our family members that are in D.C. right now and learning some good information and running to other people that's doing stuff that we're doing, right? So Brother Hatim don't look that crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because it sometimes you gotta get people outside of the tribe so they can be like, damn, there's other people that's doing what we doing. There's other people that's serious about what we doing. So let me see if this text message thing ain't pop up. So family, if y'all would like and share, you know what I'm saying? We need to bring people in. Shit, some of y'all in Gye-Nyame go on and do a watch party, because that bring more people in. So we gonna have this discussion. Lines are open at 614-556-4535. As a matter of fact, let me go on and post that up. Call in, lines open. at 614-556-4535. Let me do the same for Spreaker. Just in case we got some people on here. Call in lines. Open. 614-556-4535. So, we got that up on Spreaker. And I hope Brother Kwame, because usually I have to send him a link. And I'm kind of hurt because, but we'll see. We'll get them together. So I don't know what's up with my text speed. So let's go. All right, here we go. I found an article today. This is in Forbes. But this is May 23rd. And this is how the idea of reparations for Black America is coming closer to reality. It's by a John, it looked like Turpay. He writes in Leadership Strategy. I write about social and political issues related to high tech. So this is something that's related to high tech. I wonder why. But let's go on and The issue of reparations for African Americans is back in the news, with a new number of candidates for Democratic presidential nominations endorsing the idea in one form or another. Much of the support involves endorsements of a bill creating a study commission that has been introduced unsuccessfully since 1989. So since 1989, family, for those that don't know, there's been a bill that's been passed, started by, I can't remember the congressman's name. Well, anyway, they have refused to even study the concept of reparations. But let's go and talk about them in the Dreamers Act, or rights for the LGBTQXYZ crew. You know what I'm saying? No, there's no delay on that. For us, they just jump right past our shit. And we have to put a stop to this. We have to put a stop to this. We got to make sure that when our shit pops up, that it's taken very, very seriously. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that they understand. We're not playing with this. The return of reparations is defined as an effort to address the wrongs done to blacks throughout U.S. history. And we got to be clear about that. By done to ADOS. Right? Because I know y'all like, well, we black. But you have to be able to define the class specifically. Define the group specifically. Because what happened is you have people that were not affected by this clumped in, and all of a sudden they're going to turn it down, or there's arguments about that. No. People that are descendants of slavery in America. American descendants of slavery. All right? Clear, cut, simple. All right, the return of reparations defined as the effort to address the wrongs done to blacks throughout U.S. history. To the political agenda might seem oddly timed because of the current preoccupation with turning back the clock in so many policy areas. But Patricia Cohen of the New York Times lays out a number of economic models that might be used to calculate the losses suffered by American slaves and their descendants, as well as the various ways by which those losses might be compensated. There's a good reason to focus on the economic side of this question, since economic disadvantage is at the core of how blacks have suffered under slavery, segregation, and their legacies. Ta-Nehisi Coates laid out many of the details in his justly acclaimed 2014 essay in The Atlantic. The problem is that ultimately the response to these wrongs must be political and will have to gain the endorsement of Congress if they are going to have any traction. Unless the president was to sign, and I'm going to say this, unless the president was to sign an executive order. You know what I'm saying? Then there might still be problems, but, our boy Obama signed executive order for the Dream Act and stuff like that. And, executive orders could kind of push shit in, and then they can argue about it while shit is happening, right? Just at least to get the study started. Come on now. We know this in part from the experience of Japanese Americans, those who were interned, incarcerated as enemy aliens during World War II, waited more than 30 years before they received compensation for the wrong done to them. I went over there. Congress created a commission of inquiry in 1980 to address the issues on the basis of its recommendation. The Civil Liberties Act of 1988 provided for $20,000 for each surviving internee, as well as an official apology from the government. The legislation was designed specifically to ensure that other groups, African Americans in particular, would not see the law as precedent. The situation of blacks had been addressed in the Kerner Commission, impaneled by President Lyndon Johnson in the aftermath of a number of major urban riots in the late 1960s. Memorably, the commission concluded that our nation is moving toward two societies, one black, one white, separate and unequal, and that white racism was the cause. The commission recommended massive programs to attack the impoverishment of urban ghettos and to improve the well-being of black population. But the recommendations got caught in the meat grinder of presidential politics, and Johnson, who had done so much to improve the situations of black up to that point, essentially ignored the findings. And since the Kerner Commission, no such major official efforts have been mounted to understand and respond to the inequities suffered by black Americans. But the idea of National Commission of Inquiry remains crucial to rectifying these long-simmering injustices. Such a commission would help build public support for reparation by analyzing the origins, nature, and causes of racial inequality in the United States. The country's best historians, sociologists, economists, and political scientists will have to be assembled for the job. They will have to inquire into disparities in health, longevity, educational attainment, wealth, wages, employment, rates of incarceration, and much else besides. Then, on the basis of such an inquiry, appropriate measures could be recommended to Congress. Most non-black Americans oppose reparation and always have, but if it can be shown how and why blacks experience and have long experienced unfair treatment and outcomes, we might finally, as a nation, come to terms with our long national nightmare of racial inequality. Although that nightmare has its roots in slavery, it has continued long after the death of the last slave. The fact that no slaves are still alive has often gotten in the way of lawsuits intended to address racial inequality, since according to the courts, only a living victim of wrong in question can have standing to bring a suit. But those denials miss the real point. Racial inequality, however far back its roots may lie, still plague the country today. Of course, there are dimensions to racial inequality apart from slavery and its aftermath. The country consists of more than three races, that Alexis de Tocqueville discussed in his classic Democracy in America 175 years ago. But the inequalities that Latinos, for instance, have faced in the U.S. have tended to be the result of their immigrant trajectories and are often overcome in the second and subsequent generation. In contrast, blacks have been in this country for 400 years and yet remain on average far worse off than whites in great many respects. Respect the enthusiasm of some Democrats, presidential hopefuls, and increased recent attention to the topic. There remains many doubters who would have to be persuaded before reparations could become a reality. A commission of inquiry into historic inequalities is likely the best and most political plausible way to address them. It worked for the Japanese Americans, and perhaps it will work for the African Americans as well. Family is on the table. It's on the table. It's being discussed, and we have to do our part. We have to push. We have to have conversations with our families, our friends, our co-workers about the importance of reparations. Now, for those doubters, for those haters, for those individuals. And I know y'all be like, brother, I tell you, what about the hell? What about? Y'all got to understand, family, listen. I have generations coming up under me, and unlike many of you, why I didn't even say that? Because y'all congregation of mighty. People unlike the congregation of mighty, people unlike the stubborn minority, believe that their responsibility is just them. I believe I'm responsible for at least the next 7 generations. At least in my tribe. You know what I'm saying? So I have to make sure that there's a foundation for them. If I don't do that, I have failed. And if you don't do that for your family, for your tribe, you have failed. We have to leave a legacy. You know what I'm saying? And we have to make our mark. And we have to hold those responsible for some of the problems that we are having and facing today. I know we look in the hood and we see all this trauma going on in our hood, and we got to understand the source of a lot of this. We have to understand the source of a lot of this trauma, right? And it's not just you and some of the bad choices that you make, your family. I want you to understand that. All right. We got Shaka. We got Shaka posted something up, but there's a story I want to post up. Let me see. All right, there's another article on here, what reparation for slavery might look like in 2019. Now, understand, family, we're talking about a multi-generational process. It's trillions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And we can't, we take payments. We just going to have us a crew of individuals that can call Washington and let them know when that payment is due. You know what I'm saying? It's time for you to make that goddamn payment. You know what I'm saying? We are the bill collectors. You know what I'm saying? Just like they call us about our shit. Because I know some people are like, I don't want to take no handout. Listen, family, and let me break this down for you, right? If you are owed something, is it a handout when you go to the motherfucker that owe you and tell him to give your money, and he turns around and say, what, you want a handout? Motherfucker, you owe me money. Ain't no hand. Give me my money or give me your hand. Simple, right? I mean, really. People, you got to get over the mind fuckery that people are throwing upon you. Please understand, right? If it's a debt that's owed to you, it's a debt that's owed to you, right? Your ancestors, this country was built up upon your ancestors, and we talk about this all the time. So don't allow people to clown you to think that what you're asking for is a handout. Not what you're not asking for a handout. You're asking for what you are owed. See, because nobody have a problem with calling you about your late car payment. Do you ask them when they asking about that money? What, you want a handout? Your mortgage payment? What? You want a handout? No, it's a debt that you owe, and you pay it. And just like they expect you to pay your debts, we need to expect them to pay theirs. And it don't take every last one of them, because I keep on telling y'all about the stubborn minority. I'm going to drill this into your mind. It's the stubborn minority that always make changes. It's the stubborn minority that always changes the world. And it's our time. But there's one article I want to cover before. And this one right here. Get ready to hold your hat, family. Get ready to hold your hat. So when you be running into those people like, I ain't gonna never get no reparation. I ain't gonna never get it. Right? Here we go. Listen. How this is from Bloomberg Opinions, from Bloomberg Paper Official. This is on June 5th, 2019, 8:44 a.m. How Germany should respond to the 1.2 trillion reparation claims. Berlin can ignore Poland and Greece's demand for reparation, but it should pay heed to their calls for more altruism. Where my lightning at? Where you at? I was waiting for you, anime. Listen, we have Poland and Greece calling for reparations from Germany for World War II, WW2. We have a group calling upon another group for reparations. Let's read a little bit, because I want y'all to hear this. Greece and Poland are stepping up the demands for Germany to pay reparations for World War II. This may appear to be a little more than an attempt to pander to domestic voters, but in fact is an effort to ground in history their calls for Europe's largest economy to show more altruism towards its poor allies. Berlin should heed this pressure, if not the actual demand for money. On Tuesday, Greece formally asked Germany to negotiate reparations for the Axis power invasion of 1941 to 1944. In 2016, parliamentarians put the minimum amount due at 292 billion euros, 330 billion. Meanwhile, Polish legislators are working on a report on German-inflicted war damage that could, according to the newspaper Dziennik Gazeta Prawna, included a demand for about 850 billion. The paper may be released on September 1st to coincide with both the 80th anniversary of the start of the conflict and a visit by German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier to commemorate the date. The demands are, at least in part, meant for the ears of Greek and Polish voters. Greece's governor's party, Syriza, came to power promising to cut the country's debt burden and get justice from Germany, which has opposed a write-off. Having failed to deliver on either, the leftist party now faces a losing battle in an early election scheduled for July 7th. It can't hurt to remind voters that government hasn't given up. Family. So, we have Germany being called to pay reparations for World War II. I don't know how many of those veterans might still be living, but the country still has ill effect from World War II, which was over 80 years ago. And I know a lot of y'all, I can't wait to hear people be like, they should forget all that. You know, that been happened. That can't be affecting them now. These are the arguments that are coming at us, but at the same time, we have other countries mounting this call. And I can't help but to say that one of the things that made this whole reparation arguments visible and even possible and able to be taken seriously by other countries is the call from us right here in America. We don't understand the power that we as ADOS, as black, as children of Africa, what power we have. You know what I'm saying? We do a dance, they doing a dance everywhere. We start rapping, they rapping everywhere. We start spinning on our backs, getting dirty, everybody spinning everywhere. We scream for reparations, God damn it. There was other countries before, but you never heard it like this until after we started the call. But now, let's get to the folk tales. I know, because I'm running my mouth. I'm sorry, family. All right, here we go. Streaming on 6 platforms: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Periscope, and something else. Because it got 6 up here. Let me see what I'm streaming on. Make sure I ain't double streaming, causing no issues across the internet. All right, Gye-Nyame Journey YouTube. Hatim Gye-Nyame on YouTube, just so that those that wanted to see it could see it. We live on Facebook on Gye-Nyame Journey Media. I'm sending data. YouTube stream Gye-Nyame Journey on this one. It says it can't get through. YouTube events is online. Okay. So it says unable to connect on Ustream now. So let's go and close this one down. And we on. Okay, cool. So we cool. All right. So I think it's showing up on, because some people that wanted to see Yep, it's on Gye-Nyame Journey on YouTube. Yes, it is. All right, so let's get it. All right, Proverbs for the day. Never think there is anything impossible for the soul. It is the greatest heresy to think so. If there is sin, this is the only sin, to say that you are weak or others are weak. Once again, never think there's anything impossible for the soul. It is the greatest heresy to think so. If there is sin, this is the only sin, to say that you are weak or others are weak. This is from Swami Vivekananda. All right. Here we go. Number 2. Life is growth. If we stop growing technically and spiritually, we are as good as dead. That's Muhure Yeshiva, the founder of Aikido. Life is growth. If we stop growing technically and spiritually, we are as good as dead. Okay? Last one. An army without good planning is conquered with one club. Kenya. An army without good planning is conquered with a club. Dang. All right, so somebody out there, we got people out there on Facebook. Somebody type a number between 1 and 3. Which one y'all want me to start with? I'm waiting for y'all. Come on. Somebody out there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, or 3. Come on now. Pick a number. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Do 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 do. Boom boom. What? Nobody ain't typing nothing in? Come on, family. All right. Got lazy fingers out there, so I'm gonna have to blindly pick. Better yet, Vicky, pick a number between 1 and 3. 3. My wife picked 3. Give it up for my wife. Give it up for my wife, because y'all don't really get to hear her voice. That's the first time y'all got to hear her voice. Give it up. Let's clap it up. Yep. Here we go. 3. An army without good planning is conquered with one club. Family, this stresses the importance of groups organizing, and not organizing around feeling good, not organizing around one individual, but organizing around an agenda, organizing around a strategy, organizing around a plan, right? The reason we have been running into issues in the last few years, because, like I said, once again, it's important that I stress, family, we have been going through hard times in America, but we are experiencing hard times in a totally different way now, because we are organized in a different way now. We are moving on emotions. We're moving on, in a sense, false facts. We're moving on overabundance of information, and we think that we can win. You know what I'm saying? All we need is for us to pull together. No, we need to have an agenda. We need to have a plan. We need to have a directive for our actions. We need to have a plan for how we live our lives and how we discuss things. We need to have talking points. If you don't believe me, look at how the Democrats and the Republicans do. You know what I'm saying? They get on, and when they talk, you know what I'm saying? You know a Republican when he's talking. Why? Because the Republican has talking points. You know a Democrat is talking. Why? Because they have talking points. Family, what are our talking points? What are the plans for us? You know what I'm saying? Now, for those that want to know the plans as far as this whole reparation things, you go to ADOS101.com. ADOS101.com. But also in Gye-Nyame, we have a certain way of doing things. We have certain plans within our tribe for doing certain things, and we're going to get even more, right? So you have to organize. We have to organize, and we have to organize not behind people, but behind agendas, right? We got to organize around plans, right? So because when you put that at center, you don't put people at the center, right? It doesn't allow for the fuckery to come in and destroy organizations. Now, I know many of y'all out there can hear me on this shit, right? Right? Because a lot of our organizations fall to the wayside because of the personal shit that happens rather than the plan that's being laid on the table. This is why I like to have events to plan. This is why we do the monthly market. Why? Because the market is the central piece around which we plan. The goal is to build up the market so that we could build up our community. We could stabilize our community because we got economic flowing within our community. So we make sure there's a little bit of extra money in people that are involved in the market's pockets, especially the vendors, especially those in our community who takes the highest risk. And maybe they might be able to bring somebody on, or maybe they might be able to buy some products from another brother or sister, or maybe they might be able to use the money to create something that we need in our community. And maybe they could provide some basic need within our community that we can go and control from the beginning to the end. We could control that whole industry vertically. It's just a matter of us bringing ourselves together and bringing those creative minds together and be like, hey, I wonder, right? Because that's the goal for eventually with that ambrosia. That's why I'm not in a hurry to just be shipping it everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I would love to be able to control the bees that make the honey. You know what I'm saying? I would love to be able to have a freshwater spring where I get the water and a distiller through which I could run the water so that I could produce the water for the product that we're using, produce the honey for the product that we're using, and make some connections with growers so I could get the teas, even all the way down to the teas that I use, right? And eventually maybe even find somebody in our circle that will be willing to go on and produce the teas. Boom, controlling it vertically from the bottom to the top. Got a health drink. So family, an army without good planning is conquered with one club. Remember, we have to start coming together and we have to start working the plans. Stop working each other and start working the plans. And if you're involved with a group that don't have plans, don't have goals, you might need to reconsider your membership. Families got to have plans and objectives. Let me say it again. Families got to have planning. What's the plan? What's the plan? Right? So since nobody called in on that, we're gonna move to the next one. So Vicky, pick a number between 1 and 2.
2.
All right, Miss Sasha Marsh is over there. Give it up for Miss Sasha Marsh. Y'all hear her a lot, but Mohere Yushiba. Life is growth. If we stop growing technically and spiritually, we are as good as dead. Life is growth. If we stop growing technically and spiritually, we are as good as dead. Family, when you know everything, you're dead. We got to constantly be looking for growth. Every time I do this 21-day fast, I'm learning new things about myself. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, boom, I'm learning new techniques because I'm taking all the stuff that I learned from, like, for example, my first fast, I went all the way. Did water, boom. Did dry days, boom. Did water coming down. When it was finally time for me to eat, I fucked up. Right? I mean, family, and when I say that it felt like I was shitting fire because I was in such a hurry to eat and I didn't do it right, I fucked myself up, right? Second time, I said, all right, cool, we got to do juice, water, and we gotta cut it down, bring it up to a period of total dry. Then we bring it down, and then we start moving back towards it. Did it? I did a little bit better. But this year, I started off with just water, that ambrosia, juices, and broths. Then in the second week, I went to water for the first 2 days. I'm doing dry on these 3 days. Ujima, Nia is dry days. Then I'm back to water on Kaumba and Imani. And then when we come to Umoja, I'm back to water, juice, that ambrosia, and broths. Right? So then my body will not be totally divorced from digesting stuff, so that when it's time for me to eat on that first Umoja, I'll be able to go on, maybe not eat a feast, but I'll be able to go on and sample stuff. And I'm already thinking about shit, because this broth that I came up with is the bomb. I'm thinking about making this for breakfast every day. Now, but also, I was thinking about taking that ambrosia and make some ambrosia gummy worms or gummy treats. I'm quite sure I could find little trays like worms, but I got a recipe to make healthy gummy worms. And y'all know I love gummy candy, like, man. So I'm going to, I think after I get off this fast, I'm going to experiment with making some gummies with that ambrosia. The only thing is I got to find a stabilizer, because the recipe that I came across, you got to keep it chilled. And I want to be able to sell these at the market, at the mall. You know what I'm saying? I want to introduce them at the mall, not at this mall. I got to get off my fast long enough to go on and produce enough of them. But healthy gummies, veggie. You see what I'm saying? So, planning. No, my fault. So, we are on the second one, where when we stop growing, right? Learning new things. Family, listen. You have access to Google. There's no reason that you need to stop learning. And he also says that techniques, because I want to stress this, if we stop growing technically, see, there's a technique in everything, and inside that technique, there's a technique, right? So, like, for example, in capoeira, you can start doing capoeira, but capoeira is an easy martial art to get. But as you start studying capoeira, you start noticing that there's techniques inside of techniques, inside of techniques, inside of techniques, right? So, and this is with everything. This is when you start going down. Like, for example, when I'm looking at myths and learning how to break them down, or I'm looking at folk tales, or I'm looking at proverbs, there's techniques to doing it. So technically, I'm always brushing up on my skills. And technically, in your fields of mastery, you need to be brushing up on the techniques and looking for other techniques that will make the techniques that you are using even better. So when we stop growing technically and spiritually, when I feel that I have arrived spiritually, then I'm not growing no more. So I'm as good as dead. Now, and I want you to understand that dead does not necessarily mean that you are laid down to the ground, because many of y'all are existing and working and going to places on a daily basis where you run into dead people all the damn time. Because a lot of people exist in a zombie state. They feel they know it all. They feel that they can't get no more. They don't feel that they can get no better. They are not brushing up on their techniques. They are not adding to their knowledge. So they are dead. Let me say it again. D-E-A-D. They are zombies walking around. And you don't want to become one of those. Right? You always want to test yourself. You always want to push yourself to some type of limit, so that you can see if there's something over the edge of that limit that you could pull back with you when you come back. Right? It's stuff that I every time I fast, or every time I take myself to some type of ceremony, some purposeful suffering is what we call in jail, purposeful suffering, near suffering, right? It's always something that I could pull back and use. All right. So we are at 10 o'clock hour. We have been on here almost. Let's see how much time, because I don't want to keep y'all over an hour. Well, we've been on here. I don't know. All right. So we're gonna cut it short real quick. All right. Last one. Never think there is anything impossible for the soul. It's the greatest heresy to think so. If there's a sin, this is the only sin, to say that you are weak or others are weak. The soul. Right? The thing that experiences life through us. The thing that really is us, that higher part of our being. It's limitless when we put it to work. You know what I'm saying? But when we start doubting it and doubting ourselves, we lose power. And our family, I don't want you to lose power. But yo, with that, I'm gonna end it on that note. You know, this conversation keep on going. Y'all see this stuff on the timeline. Y'all go and y'all comment. But like I said, we're gonna be changing how we doing some stuff around here, because I told y'all about the thing that happened to me. Damn, I'm streaming on 4 YouTube channels. Get the fuck out of here. All right, family. This is Brother Tim. I want to thank each and every last one of you for your time and your participation. And I am out. But before I go, I want to remind you, thank you for being part of the congregation of the mighty, for being one of those stubborn minorities, right? And understanding that your hustle builds muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. I'm your host, Brother Tim, and this has been another Tribal Quotes, Day 73, and this is a Heart of a Summer production. Where we strive to blow up your old paradigms. I will see you in the morning. Have a great Ujima for the rest of the day. I will see you on Nia. Peace.